All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it's late night with Chig, as promised, where I talk to you about Arsenal news related to the Arsenal. You know what we do by now. Now, apologies, I did promise I was going to do Chig's 5 footballing heroes. I've done it. I've edited it. But there's a lot of the reason I'm half an hour late for this. I hate editing. I hate editing. And I forgot I had to renew my editing software, and oh, it stresses basically on my side. But I've now done that. It'll be ready, but I can't drop that now because no one's going to see it. After all that editing, I want as many people to see it as possible. So what I will do is I'll drop that at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So you're going to get a video, 10 a.m., Chig's 5 footballing heroes. And I'll drop that at 10. All right? Because I'll upload it tonight and put it on a schedule ready for you guys. The beard is just me being lazy, mate. It's not a purposeful one. But thank you. I appreciate that. It's just the rugged look. This is quarantine look right here. All right, let's go into it. Let's talk about Cesc Fabregas. He made some comments today in relation to. I think he did a big interview because yesterday he was talking about the Xavi Alonso deal, and the fact that supposedly he was so keen to come to Arsenal, like he was pleading with Arsenal to pleading with Liverpool to leave them and join Arsenal. And for whatever reason, that deal did not get done, and he ended up going to Real Madrid, which I must admit, that's something I can believe out of particularly our previous regime. I can absolutely believe that sort of deal would have fallen through. And that happened. And essentially, sorry, my brain is gone. This seemed to continue on to today. So he was talking about the reason he left Arsenal, the reason he didn't come back to Arsenal when he had an opportunity to come back and went to Chelsea. He was decided to lift the lid on a lot of things. You guys would have known, if you haven't known already, would have known that I'm a big defender of Cesc Fabregas. I know a lot of people refer to him as a snake. I've always been very consistent with my thought process on Cesc Fabregas. I've always said it. Who doesn't want to go Barcelona? Maybe not so much now, because we don't really want to go anywhere right now. But who doesn't want to go Barcelona? You know, added to the fact that he's from the gaff, added to the fact that they were, and in a lot of ways still are, one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world. I never begrudged him that move. There were certain things I didn't like about the way he did it, but I never begrudged him that move. I always thought, well, yeah, why wouldn't he want to go? You know, you could see that this team the rot process had started to set in, and subsequently we are where we are right now because of it. So he probably saw that nice and early and thought, you know what, kick rocks, I'm out of here. You know, quite honestly, at that time, I thought Arsene Wenger was going to Vince McMahon it, and it would take death to remove him from that job. And then, so I kind of would always understood. And then when he tried to come back, yeah, it wasn't ideal that he went to Chelsea. But in my mind, I was kind of like, all right, but he wanted to come back to Arsenal. At the end of the day, you know, Barcelona had clearly made it clear to him that he was no longer required. He needs to make money, and ultimately, if Chelsea are the only people involved in signing him, then I suppose they might as well sign him. So I never really hated him for his Chelsea success, and he had success. He won the league a couple of times. was very integral both times he won it. I never hated Cesc. I always thought he was a class player. I always thought he was a class player. So this might be a surprising stance when you consider all of that. I obviously then went on to read today's article, and I want to focus predominantly on his quotes, and I'll focus predominantly on them. He had an interview with Arsblog. Obviously, some of you guys know who Arsblog is. I would imagine all of you know who Arsblog is, and he talked about his decision to leave Arsenal 9 years ago, citing some of the differences, mentioning Van Persie and Nazari, and that players that were on his level, and sleepless nights. This is really going to test my reading skills, so bear with me. I promise I'm not Floyd Mayweather with it. I can read, but here we go. I was a captain. I always felt so much pressure on myself. I had to lead this team to win something, and I gave everything. Sometimes I used to go home after we lost, and I used to cry. I used to suffer. I used to spend sleepless nights suffering. And then when you lose a game, you're in a bus like this, destroyed. And then you hear some players laughing, thinking about where they're going out to later. Okay, that I can believe. I can't believe that part. Just the mentality, I tell you. This was going on for a few years, and we were playing beautiful football, and I enjoyed that side of things. But I was putting pressure on myself to lead, to do everything, and at one point, I felt kind of lonely, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. I felt Robin and Samir were the only players. Not an arrogant thing to say, but it's how I felt at the time. Were the players who were on my level, mentally and technically. Many things came into my head. Okay, the quote's not as big as I thought. Many things came into my head, and I have to admit, I was a bit empty. I was drained mentally, physically, in my soul, knowing I gave everything, knowing a few signings the club could have made, but it didn't happen. Seeing some of the behaviors from certain players or something like this made me feel I wanted to check something else. It wasn't because of that. I would not have left Arsenal at that time. So essentially, his whole thing is this, that if it was up to him in an ideal world, Arsenal would have been more successful and he would have gone to Barcelona when he did. I must admit, the little undercurrent of what I read in this as well, I don't think anyone else will say this to you, but I'm going to say this to you anyway. It kind of feels like he's almost saying, well, if I had it my way, I would have moved to Barcelona later on in my career, and I would have been ready, and they would have wanted to keep me. I must admit, that part didn't sit well with me. Now, to a certain degree, I do sympathize with him because I do think the Arsenal players, you can see from early, this is 2011 he's talking about, 2010, 2011, when he's captain, right? And he's talking about how he'd be hurting from a loss. Meanwhile, maybe half an hour later, these idiots will be laughing on the back of the bus, talking about where they're going out later. No, how about how you're going to put this right? And you can tell these guys still have that mentality that they're hurting for a little while, and then maybe it could be an hour later. So anyway, what we're going to do, what kind of balloons are we going to take? Do you know what I mean? And I do feel that is part of where that mentality, that part is where I blame Arsene Wenger, because it's a culture. That is a culture that is set by management. To say that is acceptable, rather than having that attitude of, okay, so how are we going to put this right? That part, I blame Arsene Wenger. Where I turn the attention to Cesc, and this will make more sense to you when you watch my 5 footballing heroes video that I'll drop tomorrow morning is, bro, you are the captain. So yeah, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There is a responsibility on the manager to set the right culture and right expectations for the players. But can you imagine Tony Adams being like, sometimes I felt like crying and I felt so lonely inside that I wanted to cry. Can you imagine Patrick Vieira saying, sometimes I felt so lonely and I wanted to cry and I didn't know what to do? Can you imagine Thierry Henry saying, sometimes I felt like vroom and crying and felt so lonely that I wanted to. Can you imagine any of those things happening? To be like, oh, well, boy, there's only 2 guys that are on my level, which, by the way, I agree with. There are only 2 guys on my level, so I'm going to bounce. Do you know what I would have respected? And here's the thing. This is personally my opinion. What I would have respected is if Cesc just came out and just said on a reel, listen, I'm an ambitious guy. Everybody knows I'm from Barcelona. I came from there in the first place. As soon as I heard that these lot came in for me, I wanted to go. I made it clear to Arsenal I wanted to go. Then act professionally until they can sort out your move. Because that's the thing people forget. And that's maybe the thing sometimes that even I forget as someone that defends him. He didn't act that great during that period. There were stories at that time about him not going to training and refusing being in the team photo, and they had to talk him into being the team photo, and they had to convince him to go to that first warm-up game. And if you saw the way he played in that friendly game, he stunk up the joint. You could see he was just proper sour grapes. And that was where I ain't gonna like a little bit of respect went during that time. Like deep down, I understood who wouldn't want to go to Barca. But the way he conducted himself during that time, bear in mind you're the flipping captain, bruh. You're the captain. At least if you're leaving, leave with dignity. If you're that's the one thing I will say for certain people that have left. Leave proper. You know, when Henry left, he left proper. When Vieira left with an FA Cup. I said, you know what? There you go. That's my last kick. Won you a Kaiser Cup. I'm riding off into the sunset now. Peace, A-Town down. Don't talk about, oh, well, you're not allowing, because apparently, essentially, during that time, Real Madrid were in for him. Barca were in for him. United were interested. There were a good 7 or 8 clubs that wanted him. Arsenal understandably wanted to drive up the price for him because they just wanted to drive up the price for him. Cesc didn't want to hear none of that. He wanted to bounce as soon as he heard Barca was interested. I can even understand that. But to me, all 2 things I wanted him to do, just act professional up until you leave, and then be real in an interview like that. This is the thing. This is why when people say to me, what did you think of what Van Persie said on Sky Sports News? You know what I thought? Bullshit. And again, I don't even blame Van Persie for wanting to go, but be real about it. Own it. Own it. Say, listen, I've given everything to Arsenal. I tried. I got this. I dragged this team single-handedly when this club would not back me with quality around me. Single-handedly, I dragged them into the top 4. And these lot refused to invest in the future. So you know what? I heard United were interested in me, and straight up, I left. Straight up, they paid me a shitload of money. The best manager in the world at the time, or even since, wanted me. So I decided to bounce. You know what? I don't care if other Arsenal fans shitted on him for that. I would have fucking respected him for that. Because at least he's being honest. At least he's being real. Don't start blaming other shit. Don't start blaming other shit. And I have sympathies with him. Yeah, he probably looked around the dressing room and thought, you know what? How many times have me and Lee said that? Do you think that big players don't look around the dressing room and think, none of these men are on my level? How many times have you seen me and Lee say that? So do you think Aubameyang right now ain't looking around the dressing room and think, none of these men can even touch what I do? Of course, they're human beings. I don't even blame them for that. But to me, this is where, first of all, his words here tells me he was absolutely the wrong choice to be captain. To say, oh, I feel so lonely and, I didn't know how to motivate the players, and once they started, joking about going out, then I guess I just joined in because I can't motivate people around me or some shit. What the fuck? I say it in my video tomorrow morning, right? People have misconceptions about Patrick Vieira. Patrick Vieira wasn't necessarily the biggest screamer or shouter. But one thing that boy did was he led by example. He has so much presence and so much respect in the dressing room that when he spoke, he commanded your attention. And you know why people do that? Because sometimes when you do that and you lead by example, other motherfuckers follow. So that's why when I put that story up and I saw so many people go, well, he's right. I thought, right, am I the only one that thinks the way I thought? And then I saw Iffy. Shout out to Iffy. I don't know if he's in the chat because I ain't looking at the chat right now, right? Shout out to Iffy. Iffy was like, whilst, I can understand what he's saying, I think that's a lame excuse. And I thought, bruh, without giving away too much of what I think, I 1000% agree with you, bruh. 1000%. Don't get me wrong, I think there were a couple of others that had his sort of line of thinking, but he proper went into explaining why he thought that was a lame excuse. And I agree. I think it's a poor excuse. I think quite honestly, I think he's chatting shit. Just like Van Persie was chatting shit about, oh, well, Arsenal didn't give me a contract. Really, bruh? They didn't offer you anything. They didn't offer you anything. Don't get me wrong. I can believe a lot of wild shit when it comes to Wenger and Gazidis. They didn't offer you anything. Shut up. Don't treat me for a dickhead. Shut up. What are we talking about here? I can believe a lot of wild stuff with Wenger and Gazidis. Can't be telling me that they looked at their most important player and at some point didn't at least try, even if it's just so they can show the fans that they made some weak-ass attempt at a contract offer and then he turned it down. Brother, let's just be real here. They didn't offer you enough money. You wanted to see what your value was like in the market. United came sniffing. Ferguson wanted you, and you wanted to leave. I don't even blame him. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The season after, once he moved, I was in the Old Trafford crowd live, still calling him a see you next Tuesday. Because that's just what you do. But if you're being real about it, of course I understood. I'm an Arsenal fan, bruh. And I get a lot of stick for being negative and this, that, and the other. And no doubt it will happen again in this video. But I'm also real with it. I don't care who wants to hear and who doesn't want to hear. I will always be real with you. And no one defends Cesc more than I do. Maybe Lee might rival it. But other than that, I don't know too many other people that defend Cesc like I do. I totally get why he wants to leave, why he left for Barcelona. I get that he tried to come back. Supposedly, he tried to come back. I know this interview goes on because in this particular thing I've just read, it doesn't talk about the fact that he tried to go back to what he basically goes on to say is that when he was in Barcelona, he wanted to go back to London. That was what he wanted. Just wanted to return back to London. It's obviously his second home here. Almost very similar to Bellerin. Yes, Bellerin's home is in Barca. His second home is in London. So he felt like, let me just return back to London. I was in good form there. I tried my Barcelona a dream. It didn't work out twice. Maybe it's selling me something. Let me just go back to London and see what happens. Completely understandable stuff, right? So he had a clause in his contract which says that Arsenal have first refusal, but that refusal lasts 1 week. And if by 1 week they hadn't got back to him, he's free to negotiate with whoever. Wenger, in his usual dithering self, was asked, do you want Cesc Fabregas? He's available, he's ready. According to Cesc, and given that I called him a liar, I now have to take this with a bit of a pinch of salt. According to Cesc, he was offered, Wenger dithered, which this part I can believe, he dithered. A week went by, no response. And then for Rago, clearly he's not that interested. Apparently, Jose Mourinho came along. He had one meeting, which is unbelievable considering the man went on record to say he'd never play for Jose. But all right, whatever. Business is business. I don't even begrudge him that, right? He had one meeting with Jose Mourinho, signed up to Jose Mourinho, and quite frankly, he won 2 Premier League titles, so his decision was justified. So it's just, for me, I was disappointed as someone that defends Cesc all the time when I heard him say, "Oh well, I didn't even want to leave, bruh." Who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? Like I said, you've heard me and Lee many, many times talk about players that look around the dressing room and they think, no one here is on my level. And I know what you guys think when you watch that. You probably think, oh yeah, whatever, like they really think that. You've heard just say it. Mind you, this was what, 9 years ago? Do you think that doesn't happen now? Do you honestly think that Uber probably looks around, right? And part of him is genuinely torn. On the one hand, he thinks, I run this dressing room. So in some ways, it's comfortable. But then there's a burning part of you that says, yeah, but I can't be playing Europa League. I can't not be playing even in Europe. And I've got one of the best teams in the world, once again, almost as though it's written. This is why I hate Barcelona. They love tapping up our shit, right? You got Barcelona chasing him. You got Inter Milan chasing him. You once again have Man United chasing him. And as much as people want to laugh at United, last time I looked at the table, they were a lot higher than us. Probably just looks around and says, where go? What am I wasting time for? So, for me, and I look at this situation, I get a lot of what he's saying. I don't even blame him that he wants to leave. I don't even blame him that he looks around the dressing room and thinks to myself, flipping heck, there's literally 2 players on my level. I actually agree. Remember, we're talking about a team that had Danielson at one point. Segan had left by then, I think. Wow, we had some dead players, didn't we? I'm trying to think. We had some dead food players around that time. 08, 09. We had Ramsey who didn't really show any sort of form of quality until 2014. I'm trying to think. We had a Jack Wilshere that was getting injured every 2 seconds. We had a Theo Walcott that had just broken it to the team and was still attempting to develop into some form of player. We had a Gervinho who had literally every skill in the book apart from any form of pass ability or finishing ability. Obviously, you look around the team, you just think, what's going on? Some dead food team. I totally get it. But also, don't fucking kid a kidder. Don't kid a kidder. You wanted to leave because Barcelona were interested in you. No problem. But don't talk shit. Especially as someone who's been defending you. Anyway, I just wanted to have my kind of 2 cents on that real quick. I also want to talk about the story about Xabi Alonso. Supposedly, Cesc, probably in the same interview, because my man's been talking a lot last couple of days. Supposedly, he was desperate. Xabi Alonso was desperate for a move to Arsenal. I believe it was in 2006 that he moved to Madrid. Obviously, Arsenal were still a pretty big team. They just obviously got to the Champions League final. He asked to leave Liverpool. Rafa Benitez at the time said, okay, no problem. And he ended up, Arsenal couldn't get it done because Arsenal, I remember that as well. Around that time, a £17 million deal was being discussed. And for some reason, it just did not get over the line. And then in the end, he went to Real Madrid. And it's just like, you just think about the players we could have had at Arsenal. Just add another one to the list and another one, in the words of DJ Khaled. Anyway, let me go into the chat room and see what you lot are saying. I hope you guys are well. Please do stick a like on this video. Let me see what you lot are quickly saying. You can't genuinely be angry about what he says. I'm just baffled. Yeah, no, what are you talking about? I'm talking about me being annoyed at looking at an article where you're talking shit. I'm passionate. Sorry, not sorry. What are you talking about? This definitely is the first time you've been around a passionate person. It's just an excuse to make a video. Is it just an excuse to make a video? Sorry. Is Late Night with Chig not about Arsenal news? Cool. So is this not Arsenal news? Oh, okay. Cool. All right then. Bless your head. Bless you. We also had Gallas. Yeah, Gallas, Diaby, Eduardo. Lord Bentner. Yep. Oh my gosh. Almunia. Yeah. Took us a while to get rid of Almunia. I think that was at the time that we were phasing Almunia out and Wojciech Szczesny was there. Exactly. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Thank you, Fraser. At least somebody likes it. Apparently, we have unhappy customers in Adam and K1003944. Man, why are we always so close to becoming great? With the signings of great players that year, that Leicester would have won the league and Champions League final. Yep. Absolutely. Chig, he says all this. Chig, he explains all that. He said he was a 21-year-old captain sitting next to people like Sol Campbell, and he found it strange. Also, he asked to leave. He asked Arsenal to leave, but then he explains all this. I hear what you're saying, but to me personally, if that's the case, does he? If what he's basically saying was he felt like he was the wrong person to lead that club, surely you just come out and say. I always thought it was extraordinarily young to make someone a captain. For me, if I want a captain, I want someone who's the most experienced in the team, and even more than that, someone who is capable. To tell me that you accepted the captaincy and then you crumbled at the challenge of it, to me, I don't think is an excuse. So I respectfully disagree with you, my bro. Chig's Fresh handsome. You got to consider his age. Too much pressure on him. I understand his age, but to me, I don't think that is good enough excuse. I have a strong opinion on it, bro. God. I do find it interesting that he came out with this podcast around the time that he fell out with that founder. That I do find interesting. Because to me, I took exception with what he said, bro. Like, this is not about being angry. This is about being passionate about something that he said that I disagreed with, especially as someone who has defended him a lot in the past when people call him a snake and that, and people are like, and I usually always will defend him. But when I saw that, I was like, what are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? So I speak passionately. It's not a big deal. I'm black. What do you want me to say? Oh, you could do several. But Tyron, that's the problem. You could literally do 2 or 3 almost signs for Arsenal. And I'll tell you what, the 1 to 11 for all of those teams would be amazing. Chig, wasn't Emre's 5 captains capable? Trust Tayyip to make me laugh. Especially when I got a couple of critics in the chat room. But it's all right. Critics are welcome. Everyone, I suppose, needs to agree. We got players not up to the quality of Mustafi, Kolasinac, Socrates, Ozil. Let's not forget Olympiacos. Fraser, I think that's a great point. It'd be very interesting to see what team would win, honestly. Especially taking Cesc, Nazari, and take Cesc, Nazari, and Van Persie out of it. Who would win, honestly? Today's Arsenal team or 2011's Arsenal team? We'd struggle. I mean, that would be an interesting battle on itself. So, Evan, I've got a very similar video idea. It's not quite that, but you'll see it soon. In fact, I'll go one step further. I've kind of already done your idea. It is in the archives. It's in my playlist, How I'd Fix Arsenal Football Club, years and years ago. But I did do this. What case do you have against Fabregas? I don't know what you're getting at for your facts that contradict what you said. Generally curious. I'm pretty sure I made it clear, Adam, but once again, just for the cheap sheets, let me say this one more time. I have always defended Cesc Fabregas. I have no issue with him wanting to leave the club. I would have rather he said, I left the club because Barcelona wanted me. What I don't like is this revisionist history that our players almost seem to be doing, almost in apology to Arsenal fans. For example, when Robin Van Persie, maybe 2 months ago on Sky Sports, do you remember that? Well, he came out and he then said, well, the reason I left Arsenal was because they never gave me a contract. No, it wasn't, Robin. You left because Man United were interested, and I don't even blame you. But let's not try and lie about it. That's the reason you left. It's the exact same case here. You know, Cesc, for whatever reason, feels compelled to clarify the reason that he left Arsenal Football Club. And he's now trying to say that, no. You're not. I'm not leaving Arsenal Football Club because Barcelona are interested. I'm just leaving because, you know, there is no one else around the team that's good enough, and I wish they had invested. And you know, what I wanted to leave was leave Arsenal a lot later in my career, and I had all this pressure and this, that, and the other. And mate, all I want, I would have respected you more if you just said, as soon as I heard Barcelona were interested, it was my hometown club. They're the biggest club in the world. As soon as I heard they were interested, I wanted to go. And then act professionally until he left, and then leave in a professional conduct and way. Don't do this revisionist shit. Don't try and do this apology. Oh, Arsenal fans, no. You just don't understand. This is what happened. No. Just tell the truth. I'd have respected you more. Because to be honest, that's the defense I've been giving him. So hopefully, he probably hasn't, but hopefully that clarifies it for you. So I'm not contradicting myself in your opinion. Thoughts on the Chris Wood news? I think it's BS. BS. One person on Talksport, one person said, "Oh well, um, you know, you know what I think? I think that they should get rid of their biggest player and replace him with Chris fucking Wood." Literally, one person on Talksport said that, and suddenly the papers are around with it. The papers, keep in mind, are probably working from home and are isolated like we are, so they're running with any story. No credit. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I said it pretty clearly last time, Adam. So if you want to try and come at me, I'm going to come at you. Simple as that. Simple as that. Acting like you weren't patronizing me earlier when you were like, "Oh, am I missing something? Oh well, did you not hear up before? What were you talking about?" I'm pretty sure I said it clear the first time. Aussie Gooner. Thank you very much. 018 versus. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. Who would win? That's a question for the chat. Who would win? The 0809 team or the 1920 team? Who would win out of these two teams? Genuinely, I have no idea. I mean, I suppose I have to make the 0809 team favorite. They finished fourth. Oh, man. We have better players now, and it was a better team back then. Yeah, I know. That's probably there. You're probably right. You're probably right. We have better individuals now, but the team was a lot more cohesive back then. Even with the likes of Bentner, they probably would have beaten this team. That's a good question. I'm going to ask Lee that question. That's a good question. This Arsenal team won't be great again unless we sell all those deadwood and sign players for the badge, not for shocking money. Agreed. Forgot about Denilson. So no, I didn't. I mentioned Denilson. I was very careful about mentioning Denilson. Oh yeah, if he's the person I think he is, then yes, he's very good. But now I'm doubting myself that he's the person I think he is. Well, I'll confirm that tomorrow, but I think he's the person I'm thinking it is. So yes, he is very good. We don't even have better. Nah. That I disagree with you. If you look players, forget what they're actually performing like. Players wise, we had better players. We have better players now. Team wise, they were a lot more cohesive 10 years ago, for sure. Yes, I do. Unfortunately, not for Arsenal, but yes, I do. I think Samore in particular, who I think is the better one of the two, but I think both of them are much better than any remnants of a defensive midfielder we've had in the last 10 years. Sangara is better than all of them. I think Sangara is more of a raw talent, very combative, very much, I would say, very much as your very clean Gilberto type of DM. Samore has a little bit more finesse to him. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Decore. Um, both very, very good. Samore has a much better passing range. Good shot on him as well. And I can see why Liverpool want him. I'll tell you what, Liverpool get him is a wrap for everybody. It's a wrap for everybody. Some people Talk Sport get paid to BS. So, I have my own opinions on Talk Sport. I possibly would take Ashley Barnes as nah, mate. Evan, I like you a lot. Nah, mate. I get the point. You want a big backup striker who, but to me, I think if you're going to do that, then you might as well go for a Callum Wilson, not Ashley Barnes. It's just a big oath. Yeah, I would. If we can keep Uber and do that deal, I'd be happy. I think Atletico Madrid would buy Laka as well. The media just want to release stories that will piss Arsenal fans off to get clicks. Oh, since when don't they? Since when don't they? I'm not. Listen, for me, Adam, this is the beautiful thing about my platform. It's my opinion, my bro. It's my opinion. It's my opinion that I believe, just like Robin Van Persie, I noticed you've not referred to that yet. Just like Robin Van Persie randomly came out during an Arsenal game to say that he was never offered a contract by Arsenal. It's like, well, why would you do? For some reason, players just do this sometimes. They'll make a controversial move. Again, in my opinion, they'll make a controversial move when they may have done something a little underhanded, a little this, a little that, and then it's almost, I don't know if it's conscience, I don't know what it is. They feel like they need to explain, and then they choose revisionist history over things that we have a good idea happened. Because if it really happened in the way it happened, if Adam, your precious Cesc, did things the way you say he did, why was he, up until the point that he left, so unprofessional about it? We saw the way he played in that friendly. You saw his face during that friendly. You saw the interview he gave after that friendly. This is not a man that was content or happy or professional. This is a guy that was desperate to leave by the end. Mind you, I don't even blame him. The thing that annoys me is this almost like, I don't know, it's like they're trying to say, oh no, Arsenal fans, you don't understand. Years after the fact. You don't understand. It happened like this. And I didn't really want to leave. It's just that this, that, and the other made me leave. No, bruh, you wanted to leave, and that's fine. But don't take me for a dickhead. Is the point I'm making. If you need me to re-explain that for you, I genuinely don't know what else to tell you. If you feel like, oh, well, no, I believe Cesc because, you don't have any evidence to the contrary, then cool. No problem. It's your opinion. I'm not even crapping on you for your opinion. You can't crap on me for mine. You can't crap on me because I talk a bit loudly for you and because you don't like passion or whatever. I don't understand. I agree with that too. I agree. I think it'd be more useful than Lacazette. Ben thinks the 08-09 team. Star thinks the 1920 team. Joseph thinks the 08-09. 08-09 is winning. Yeah, no thanks, VP. You can keep him. The newly promoted Brescia, Tony, 19. Yeah, he's who I think he is, bro. Yeah, good prospect. Even at 19, I'd buy him. Even at 19. How many years do you think it would take Arsenal to realistically challenge for the league title? To do the things that I think they need to do, GT, honestly, 5 years. To challenge. I mean, to seriously push and challenge. 5 years. Keep in mind we're ninth, bruh. Keep in mind we are ninth. If you can't see how that's a similar case, then we can't. There's nothing for us to discuss. We just have to agree to disagree. If you can't see how it's the exact principle that I'm arguing about, then we don't have anything else to discuss. To say it's irrelevant is just mind-boggling to me. But okay. Do you rate Jimenez? Because I don't remember you mentioning him. I love Jimenez. It's just that for me, 29 years old. Yeah, I get the point about Premier League experience. I'm not going to lie to you, right? This is just my opinion on this, Taib. Once again, don't do an Adam, please. Just understand it's my opinion. I think people, I'm going to be very controversial about this. I want to qualify this by saying I do think he's a good player. But I do think people really want us to get him and overrate the need for him because he's a big unit of a player who scores goals. Rather than, all right, cool, he's 29. Is there going to be a lot of resale value? And yes, that is important given how much Wolves will charge to let him go. So I like him as a player. I think he's a good player, but the reason I don't mention him is because I think Wolves doesn't let him go for less than 40. And would I spend 40 million on a 29, potentially 30-year-old, who albeit has Premier League experience and is a good player? It'd be like being in the same position as whoever buys Uber. I know Jimenez is a year younger, but I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. And Tyrone makes a fair point, to be fair. It makes a very fair point. All right, this is the last time I'm going to address this brother because he still doesn't understand why I'm referring to Van Persie. The reason that I am well aware they are different people. You asked me, where's my evidence? I said to you that footballers have this habit of doing that. They have this habit of almost trying to apologize for previous decisions that we are well aware of and we know, but it's almost like they like to backtrack to re-explain and show that they're not this snake that people call them that they are. And mind you, I don't even think Cesc is a snake. But what I'm trying to say is footballers have this habit of doing that. To say, oh, well, Cesc is nothing like Van Persie. Do you know Cesc personally? And do you know he's nothing like Van Persie? What are you talking about? And yeah, there probably are different personalities. That has nothing to do with the point I'm making. Footballers have that habit in them where they like to explain years after the fact the reason why they did something controversial. It happens. It's happened forever. There are so many countless examples of that. So to say, oh, well, they're different personalities, cool. Do you know them both? So what are we talking about here? What your point is irrelevant. I'm talking about things that they've both done recently. Factual stuff. Not hypothetical where they're different people. What are we talking about? Anyway, I'm going to stop address because clearly we're never going to agree. I hope we win the Champions League in my lifetime. Me too. Well, I don't know about you, Evan. I'm 35. How old are you, bro? 5 years. I think it will be 5 years. Keep in mind, we are 9th. Bro, our next target has to be getting back into the top 6. How much more getting back into the Champions League or challenging? This is going to be a 3-stage process. So I think Arsenal fans need to learn to be patient, even more so than we have already. Arsenal will challenge for the title in the next 3 years. Tyrone, why? Because you are normally one of the most negative people out there. So tell me why. Tell me why. It will take us 2-3 years to get back to the top four. That's sad. 100%. 100%. 2-3 years to get back to the top four. Then you have to work out the conundrum of, well, for us to challenge for the league, we've got to work out how you even split United and City and Liverpool. Mind you, Liverpool's ran away with the title this year. So I think 3 years is optimistic. I said I wouldn't address. In order for Arsenal to begin winning major trophies, they need to understand the system they're using, in what context, how it works, and the prospect of league titles. How much do you think we could get Jota for? Oh, what for any Wolves player? Any Wolves player, it's going to cost money. It's going to cost money. For people saying, "Oh, why didn't you get Matt Doherty or why didn't you get Connor Cody?" Because they're all going to cost minimum 30 million, and I think you'd be lucky to get any of them for 30 million. That's my honest opinion. I think just think about it. We would like a good 5 or 6 of their players, Neves, or Neves, I should say, Jimenez, Connor Cody, Doherty. What's that black brother's name? The one that plays next to Connor Cody. Forgotten his name for the life of me now. Any of them lot are going to cost 30 million minimum. And I think the cheapest player is probably that black geezer, who I forgot the name of. Cesc is a snake. All right. Not in my opinion. Not in my opinion. No, because all the players you want to get rid of are dead food. Willy Bowley, that's the one. Thank you, Starboy, Tyrone, and Taib. Willy Bowley is the geezer I'm talking about, yes. Thank you, Ben. Do you know what Highbury sold? Even more than that. And I love your picture, by the way. I wonder why. Ego, baby. Even more than that. They need to focus on selling the dead food we already have. Because in order for us to raise the level of player that we need, we have to sell. We 100% have to sell. Liverpool went from 8th place to the Europa League, so I'm keeping up. I love my Irish. I love the Irish. I'm 20. Oh, well then in that case, hopefully you're young, so hopefully you see them in your lifetime win the league. Starboy, you need to go to sleep. It's way too late, and I'm swearing like a trooper because I got people winding me up in the chat room. Cesc Fabregas is a legend, mate. If you say that though, people curse your name. I don't know if I'll necessarily go as far as to say that, because I think Cesc oversaw an unsuccessful period in his time at the club and as captain. But what I will say for Cesc is that I thought he was an excellent player. I don't think he snaked us. I think it was a guy who wanted to go back home, wanted to come back. We are the ones that chose to not have him back. Never understood complaint. My whole issue with him is the reason he ended up going home. And to me, and this is why what I said at the very start of it, I do wonder why he decided to explain why he wanted to go home. It's like, is he trying to say, well, if the Arsenal team were acting right, I would have left to go to Barcelona later in my career when I was ready, and I'd still be there now. I don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I still like Cesc, but I just thought when I read that article, I couldn't help just think, my guy, you're doing a Van Persie here. I like you're definitely doing a Van Persie here. And you know what? And I find it interesting that he did this interview all of a sudden with Arsblog. And it wasn't long after, was it he got into some altercation with a fan and they called him a snake. And suddenly he feels compelled to explain why he wasn't a snake. But Bunny, listen, there ain't going to be anything you do that's going to convince Arsenal fans otherwise. So I would have respected it if I just heard the truth, is the whole point I'm making. It hasn't got anything to do with, well, Van Persie and Cesc are different. What are we talking about? They both did the same thing. It's got nothing to do with whether they're the same or whether they're different. I'm talking about factual things that they both did that happened. They both felt compelled to explain the reason why they left Arsenal Football Club. It hasn't got anything to do with personality. This is fact. And I wonder why, years after the fact, I question why both decided to do that. If that needs further explaining, I can't help you. I can't help you. I thought it was pretty clear in the first place. If a club spend more money on one or two, we can challenge for a trophy. What trophy would that be? Ursel is wingworm. He gets under my skin. GT Playboy. The key thing for Arsenal board is to back Arteta by rectifying gaps in the quality of starting 11, front to back. Then we can dream about challenging for big trophies. I don't disagree with that, GT. I'm literally doing 5 more minutes. I'm out of it. I've done a long show today, but I knew I owed you guys a long show, so that's why I'm here. So, yeah, VP, where's my OT fund at? Tyrone, we can't use Xhaka to better Guendouzi. That's why we need to get rid of foolish players. 6:21 in America right now. Yes, 12:25 a.m. in the UK. But when you roll out of bed and you're on your work laptop, once that's work, you can afford to go to bed at 12:30 in the morning. 5 more minutes, guys. Bombard me with questions. All I ever ask whenever I do these shows, respect my opinion, I respect yours. But then don't be sarcastic, and then when I'm better at being sarcastic, because I will be, I guarantee I'll be better. You complain about that, or you complain about me patronizing you. Like, well, you were being sarcastic with me. You can't then complain when I outdo you at your own thing. Cesc is a cult hero like Santi. Yep. I think that's a fair comparison. I think he was until he moved to Chelsea, to be honest, Fraser. But I that's the way I personally see him. See, that's the thing. This is against the other nuance that people can understand. I can still think he's talking shit and still like him. I like Cesc. I met Cesc once. I met him once. Economic just proves that the board and the owner issues, they've discouraged the economies of scale. Yep, I think that is to a degree, but do you think that is a message that's come from the owner? Do you think that is the board decision? Keep in mind, a lot of the board members that were there back then aren't here now. So it's important to, in all fairness, to keep it consistent when I do say that. Off topic, Tony Khabib has to happen. Well, according to Dana, he's got a location now. Cesc has the back pass in his own box. that led to Barcelona's goal. Yep. I know about the conspiracy theory. Yep. I won't say anything, but yes, I'm aware. I live in Jamaica, and it's only 7 out here. Oh, okay. Thank you, brother. Am I the only person that feels like cry when Arsenal lost? Yeah. Nope. It ruins my whole weekend. It genuinely does. It ruins my whole weekend. I've already said this to wifey before, right? Because me and the wifey don't live together. But I always, unless she's about to give me some sex, I am vexed the whole weekend. I am vexed the whole weekend. Straight up. Not a happy bunny. If I was Wenger and I saw that back pass to Iniesta, that's betrayal. Because right, the time back. See, Adam's watching. I disagree with Manny. He disagrees with me. And he's still putting something that makes me laugh. Highbury AFC Seoul. Liverpool saw COVID-19 was the threat, but the real threat was SARS. Chig, would I take Luis Alberto from Lazio? Not sure who that is, to be fair. I'm not sure who that is. Don't watch Italian football like I used to. Just hoping the FA Cup continues so they can lift a trophy by the end of the season. But my opinions anger people. Do you know why my opinions anger people, though? It's because I'm quite a passionate person. So I think people take it as I'm shouting at them. I'm just black. And I come from a big black. When you're black and you're from a big black family where there are 4 siblings, if you ain't screaming, you ain't getting heard. And that is your business if you ain't getting heard. So for me, and I would have thought my subscribers will know this by now, because I talk about something passionately, doesn't mean I'm always being angry. Flipping heck. I just think to myself, I said several times during the stream, I still love him. I just think he's talking shit. But then you get Adam, who is clearly a newbie, because I've not seen his name before, pop up, and he's like, well, why are you getting so angry? This is just an excuse to make a video. No, mate, this is a story that happened about Arsenal. Guess what? I am an Arsenal podcaster. Therefore, I am going to talk about this story. I think you can see the link here. You know? You got to shout over 100%. 100%. 100%. So I can't tell if Sofian is winding me up or he genuinely doesn't understand. But it is about the Arsblog interview. You must have joined that PS. But yes, PES, apologies. Pescuna. Wait a minute, Pescuna. So you play Pro Evolution. You could answer me a question then. Is Pro Evolution has not now overtaken FIFA? That's what I want to know. The people, because I ain't gonna lie, next year, Bon FIFA, I might focus on PES. I know I'm still doing overtime. 2 minutes over what I said I was going to be. Dion from Ajax, you said it was going to be Arsenal, Ajax, Arsenal, Barcelona. What do you think of that? If we even have a small chance of that, that will make up for the Ziyech mistake. If that is possible, sign him up. I don't think it will. I think he'll go straight to Barca. But I must admit, you're right, Torren. I've not heard a lot about him going to Barcelona. Fingers crossed. Because I'll tell you what, if we can't get Party done, focus on him. Yes, it has. Good morning to you, Highbury. PES sucks now. The only thing they had over FIFA was Champions League package, and now FIFA has that over PES. Chig, a football manager save with Arsenal. I'd love to do that. And even though me and him have fallen out, I can't steal the thing that belonged to another former Arsenal podcaster. If you know who it is, you know. Chig, what was the first game I played on PS1? FIFA. Yeah? Can't remember what game of FIFA. It was an old one. No, that's a lie. It was Pro Evo. It was Pro Evo. It was Pro Evo. Yeah. Football Manager is better than both. I love Football Manager. I switched to PES 2 years ago. So much more of the simulation. Okay, but that doesn't tell me if you think it's better. I'm guessing by the name you think it's better, but I want confirmation. You could put it in kits and leagues and badges real easy. PES is easy to reject, throw a ball and go. Cesc is telling the truth. Wenger rejected him. I agree. I agree. That's not the part I disagree about. You got to go back, my bro. Go back to the beginning. I make it pretty clear what I have an issue with. Do I ever play Championship Manager? Back in the day, until Football Manager took all their people. Back in the day. Yeah, I think it's better for sure. All right. I think I've covered and got all the questions and argued with enough people now. So let me get up out of here. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the discussion. At the very least, it's caused a debate. Some people that don't understand why I'm frustrated. Some people disagree. Some people clearly missed the point. Either way, I hope you've enjoyed the discussion. Please do stick a like on this video. Heck, stick a dislike if it makes you feel better. Not a problem, but do something. I hope you subscribe as well. Hit that subscribe button. We are starting to motor again, so thank you for those people who are subscribing. Me and Lee have an idea, and hopefully it will accumulate in me and him having a showdown match on here where I stream from my point of view, he streams from his. So at some point we will do that. We're going to aim for Sunday. No hard promises on that, but we will be doing it at some point. Tomorrow, Lee has invited me onto his show to do a rewatch of the Arsenal versus Tottenham, where Arsenal win 4-2. I ain't gonna lie, it'd be nice to watch Tottenham lose again. That's what I'm gonna say. All depends on workload for me. I tend to have my lunch break quite late anyway, so I wouldn't mind watching an hour or two of Arsenal crushing Tottenham again. But I've just got to see how I manage my workload. So I literally said to Lee, I'll let you know, but it'll be literally late in the day. So it is what it is. Some people have asked me to do a watch along of WrestleMania. I ain't gonna lie to you. Apparently WrestleMania is over 2 days due to this whole situation. I ain't doing that. So no. And yeah, we've got some ideas in the pipeline. So even though there's a lack of football, there's a lack of sport, a lack of everything, the Olympics got cancelled this year. So, we are in a very serious situation. But I promise I will be doing videos. Even if people come on here and say, oh, it's just another excuse to do a video, it probably is. Because you know what? I like doing videos. I'm hoping you guys enjoy it too. And yeah, hopefully my passion is not scaring you off. and you understand why I speak loudly. And yeah, no doubt we'll catch up again very, 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 very soon. All right. All right, guys. Enjoy your night. Please stay safe, and I will catch you soon. Take care. A-Town down. Peace.